Hi, everybody. We have our next speaker up, and she is Lea Godet, a dedicated vegan activist from the Netherlands. Lea's love-based approach to activism focuses on building bridges, fostering connections, and creating sustainable community engagement by incorporating arts, music, and food as a way to reach out to people. Lea's presentation today will center around the innovative and impactful plant-based treaty campaign, showcasing how local actions that give back to the community have led to endorsements by major cities, all while promoting positive change towards plant-based food systems. Welcome, Lea.
Wow. Oh, yeah, it's working. So thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here. My name is Lea Godet, and I'm regional liaison for Animal Safe Movement in Europe, and also one of the coordinators for the plant-based treaty, which we're going to talk about today. I want to take you a little bit back to when I started doing activism. This was in 2018, and it was a cube of truth, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's me, super hopeful. I thought I'm going to be out in the street and I'm going to talk to people and everybody I speak to will see it because, you know, if you see what's happening to animals, you cannot decide anything but to go vegan on the spot. And boy, was I wrong. I highly believe in all forms of activism as safe movement. We have the safe square, so I believe in outreach as a way to talk to the public. But yeah, if you see this group of people, it's 21 people in the picture, and 5 of them are still active. All the other ones have left the movement, either they stopped, burned out, some went into politics, which is of course great. But I'm now an activist since 2018, and an average activist stays active for about 2 to 3 years. Not just in the Netherlands, in Europe too, I see it. There's just a lot of loss of activists, and the pandemic obviously played a big part. A couple of reasons for people to drop out is trauma. We constantly deal with cruelty. I am sort of glued to my phone. On Instagram, I see it all the time. I do about 1 or 2 vigils a month where I stand at slaughterhouses and I look the animals in the eye, and it does something to you. It just makes you sad at times, and when you don't know how to deal with that sadness or you don't have a support system, yeah, it creates burnouts, and we see that a lot in activists. Infighting, big reason why people just drop out. We sometimes are our worst enemies, I say sometimes. Lots of talks were about this topic, so we're not going to touch into that. And the other one is lack of results. You know, in all the time I've been an activist, I want to take you to some numbers from the Netherlands. The percentage of vegans in 2017 in the Netherlands were 1.5%. And they obviously don't have the numbers of 2023, but you would be surprised if I say it was 1.5% as well. Go back, sorry, yeah. So could be give or take 0.5%, but there's not 5% vegans or 10% vegans or 100% vegans that I hope there would be now, but we're not really getting more vegans. The animals that are being slaughtered in the Netherlands went from 639.5 million in 2017 to 657 million in 2022. So while the number of vegans stayed the same, or maybe a little bit up, the animals that went to slaughter every single year went up by millions. So that raises the question, how effective are we really with our activism? And I think it's really good that as a movement we constantly try to look at ourselves and see, like, what are we doing? Is it still relevant? Do we need to change things? So as a SAFE movement, a long time we just focused on individual change. We tried to go out into the street, talk to people, try to make them see what we see. We used social media, we filmed the animals in the trucks, hoping that we get out of our bubble and that people would see it and change their ways. But the numbers don't show that we're actually doing that. As much as we think that we're winning with all the vegan options that I'm really happy about. I gained about 20 kilos since I'm vegan. Yay for the junk food vegans. But it's not really doing anything for the animals. Or not anything, but it's not what we want. Animal liberation is still a long way to go. So we figured we needed the systemic change, and I think the pandemic helped a lot. It took a lot of people to revisit what they were doing, so did we. And we came with a campaign which is called the Plant-Based Treaty, and we launched it on August 31st in 2021. And at this moment we are at 112,000 individuals that signed, 1,200 NGOs that have endorsed it, 1,400 businesses and 21 cities that have the Plant-Based Treaty, so that endorsed it. So yeah, we're really happy with where we are now. And I'm going to talk more about how we did that in the presentation. Also, we got a little bit help in the beginning from some celebrities like Moby and the McCartneys, Joaquin Phoenix, that signed it when we were at COP26. This is the climate conference, and that helped to get it in the media. So we had a bit of luck with it, but it definitely helped to launch the campaign. What is the Plant-Based Treaty? I'm not going to talk too much about what the Plant-Based Treaty is, because I could fill 45 minutes with it. If you want to know more, please come to me after the talk, or there's lots of stuff online, but definitely I want to say what it is. What we try to do is to create bottom-up pressure to call on governments to negotiate for a plant-based treaty. So we want our world leaders to think about a new system for the protein transition, sorry. And the way we do that is to start small, local, build your community, and then when you have enough support, you go through your local counselors, ask them to endorse it, and when we have enough support, we hope that it will be on the table at one of the climate conference, like the fossil fuel treaty is. Plant-based treaty, we have 3 principles: relinquish, redirect, and restore. Relinquish simply means no further degradation of forest, no more animal agriculture, no new farms, no new fishing vessels. Just stop the problem from getting worse. Redirect, shift subsidies, spend money on campaigns that advertise healthy plant-based diets, really redirect everything that we're putting now into animal agriculture and shift it towards plant-based initiatives and people and organizations that work on that. And then finally, when we have done that, we want to restore. So we want to give back land to nature, to indigenous people that we stole it from, make community gardens, make sure there's food security for everybody by just using all the land we take up and farm plants. I'm not gonna lie, when the plant-based treaty launched, I didn't know what to do with it, because I am an animal rights activist, I'm not an environmental activist or a health activist. I'm in it for the animals, you know. I was used to doing vigils, and I looked them in the eye and I thought, like, why are we gonna spend all this time on a petition? You know, shouldn't we try to just get their faces out, or shouldn't we just... I was a little bit confused. when I started reading into the climate crisis, I really realized that the first ones to suffer are always the animals. You know, also people that have it less than us already, but the animals are the first ones that will feel the effects of this climate crisis. And one of the pictures that I saw that just really connected the dots for me, I'm going to show it, so if you don't want to see it, look away, because I don't want to traumatize anybody else. But this is the picture that, for me, connected the dots. Yeah, it's horrible. I'm going to have a little bit of a happy picture, but I do want to talk about it. Because that picture that I just showed of the kangaroo stuck in a fence, it was during the Australian wildfires. And I think it was a picture that went viral. Everybody saw it. Like, a lot of my non-vegan friends, family were like, oh my God, that picture is so terrible. And, you know, poor kangaroo. It's really a sign of how the animals are affected by this climate crisis. And I think I learned in somebody else's presentation that it was 3 billion animals that lost their lives in those wildfires. So it's really, if you are an animal rights activist, we all should care about the climate, because polar bears, all these ecosystems that have animals in them are so affected by this. So that sort of got me, okay, let's do this. So we started the Plant-Based Treaty, we set up our teams, and we found out that working for the Plant-Based Treaty was such a positive way of doing activism. And I can safely say that I think it saved me from burning out, from having a burnout. Because all these years with traumatizing myself, not seeing the results, just keep seeing the numbers go up, it just did something to me. I wasn't happy, I was angry, I was sad. I still cry a lot, but I cried more then. And with this, we found a way of having fun while doing activism. Because instead of debating with people on the street whether you should hurt an animal or exploit an animal, we were just having a different conversations with people. And I'm not saying that I don't believe anymore in the other way, but for me, the combination of having this really positive way of approaching people just really lifted my spirit. I am laughing so much, and it's such an easy way to get into activism as well. So we saw a whole new community emerge, actually. I'm gonna walk you through some of the things that we do worldwide, because we have a lot of teams all over the world that work on this campaign. And one of the beauties of this campaign is that it allows you to be super creative about what you want to do. Before I go to that, if my thingy works, oh, yeah. It starts by collecting endorsements. So what you want to do is you want to get the signatures. And there's different ways of collecting signatures. One is by individuals. So what we have a list here, if you haven't signed a treaty, please come to our stall, sign a treaty. It shows politicians that there is support for this treaty. The more people that sign it, the more we can show to our local politicians that there's actually demand for this. Then we get organizations. So we write other NGOs. Do you want to support the treaty? And now we already have about 1,200 NGOs that support it. The more NGOs that support it, the more it shows that we really want this treaty. I remember that in the beginning, a lot of organizations told us, no, we don't want to have anything to do with that. But then more and more people signed it, and then asking a second time, asking a third time, getting it on the news, and yes, now we want to sign it. And that, I hope, will continue to go like that. So more NGOs will come on board and sign it. Same with businesses. We started with small businesses, local businesses, vegan restaurants, the low-hanging fruit. And right now we're working on an endorsement from the European Space Agency. Not saying that we already have it, but there's conversations of having such a big organization actually get behind the Plant-Based Treaty, which is super excited. And again, it shows to politicians there is a demand for this. There's people with, money, which usually talks loud, that also get behind this. And we reach out to local politicians to ask for endorsements, and then the end goal is to have a city endorse so that we can actually take it to the UN and say, we want this plant-based treaty. Going quickly to the creative things that you can do with it, chalking, stickering. While you have it, you can just put a sign-up sheet there, and people will come by, have a talk with you, sign it. You can sneak in animal rights in there, for sure. We do it all the time. Food giveaways, sampling. We got sponsors now also that want to help us with our actions. You can here see really well the differences of approaches. We have Los Angeles Health Safe, who's giving out like bags of fresh vegetables to the people. And we have Israel Animal Safe, who really don't care about health, and they give people snacks. So whatever, yes. So whatever your angle is or what you like doing, you can put an action now. There's no restrictions. You can just use your creativity and set something up really low-key and get the signatures going. This is our food truck. This is a food truck is from the Netherlands. It's parked in front of the United Nations building where we were at the Bonn Climate Conference, where we gave out, I think, 2,000 free hot dogs that we funded by selling hot dogs for festival prices. And it's one of those signs that you could just have a weird idea. My colleague sitting here had this idea, like, wouldn't it be really cool if we had a food truck? And then we started crowdfunding for the food truck, and there was the food truck. And we use it all the time to get into places and talk about the plant-based treaty. And one of the fun things here was that we gave out free hot dogs, and all these delegates came up to us. You know, we weren't like running after them with a car, like, please send the plant-based treaty. We're just giving out free hot dogs, and they came to us. And we got the chance to speak to high-placed people that we would never get a chance to talk to if we weren't there with the hot dogs. And this year we went back, and people remembered us. Oh, you guys are from the hot dogs. You know, no, I know, I look at the plant-based treaty, I remember. So again, we're keep working on this campaign, and every year we get more cities, more endorsements. So people that didn't see it last year maybe see it this year or next year or the year after, because we keep on going. Why? Can I change? Oh, no. Another thing that people do around the world, community gardens. This is also an example of how we are going back into the communities, because a lot of time we were outside telling people what to do. We were a little alienated sometimes from people. With this, we are actually taking some of our skills and put it into our community, so we're giving something back. We're doing community gardens, we're getting local people involved, and while they're there, they can sign the plant-based treaty, get involved, making the community grow, and it get bigger and bigger while giving back, which I think is so good to see. I don't know, I think my thingy starts giving up. I don't know if I can do it manually. Seed giveaways, which is another really cool thing to do, because you're working with nature, planting trees. It's one of our slogans, eat plant, plant trees. And it's a really fun thing to do, and also a thing that politicians love to do. Everybody wants to have their picture taken, planting a tree, looks really good on you, and we make use of that. So it's also really good to give already something back to nature. So even if, in the end, like the plant-based treaty completely doesn't work, which I don't believe, we have still planted those trees. We still set up those community gardens. So either way, we're already making an impact within the communities. For all ages, I would not recommend you to take your kids to a vigil, obviously. Safe squares, cubes, direct actions, not a good idea. But this is a family thing. Everything can come along, everything can help. You know, Lisette, food trucker kids sometimes are in the food truck giving out the food. They can look back to that saying, like, I was an activist when I was 4, which is super cool. Look at these champions, really happy. This is our future. Workshops, if you have a skill, you can just rent a place and do what you love and combine it with getting the signatures. This is my colleague Nilgün, she's in Turkey. Plant-based options there are not cheap. It's really expensive, something we hear a lot. Oh yeah, but it's so expensive. She just comes there and makes it from chickpeas, and it's super exciting. People really love it, and it's a good way to connect with your community and make it so easy for people to try new things. And it's really fun to do. There we have Malawi Animal Safe that is doing a completely different thing, but they're trying to prevent people from falling into consuming dairy, because these companies are out there and they're trying to push their products into these communities that are not, you know, it's really unhealthy for them. So they are already trying in schools to tell people what the effects are of dairy on their community, on their land, on everything. So it's a completely different approach because we look at what is needed in our communities. And it gives you all the freedom to do so, which is, I think, super exciting. More colleagues of mine, the presentations that we give, obviously this is one, it's an option. But this is my colleague Lisette in the early days in a local, I think it was a cafe, holding a small presentation. We have a Prajita giving a presentation for the municipality, and we have our dear Max, who will speak later with my colleague Tim. Please check him out too. But he's addressing the United Nations. So there, for every level of speaker, there is something to do, and obviously we grow. Hopefully I will be there one that time to speak. Yeah, there's whatever level you're at, there's something for you to talk about with the plant-based treaty. Then the actual city campaign. So how did we get these cities, the big cities, to endorse? Once you have built your community, once you have established that group of people that is really into this, while you're doing that, you're getting more knowledge about the plant-based treaty, but also about the climate, you are ready to contact your local councillors. And we do local councillors because we want this bottom-up pressure. We're not going to ask the government to already sign it, because at this point, it's such a far stretch. And we should not forget that local governments have such a big impact on the land that it's used, on policies that are within it. So that's why we start to reach out to local councillors and ask them to help us to get the city to endorse. Start by emailing your councillors. We did that. We just sent everybody an email. Look, do you want to sign the plant-based treaty? This is it. Lots of no responses. Be prepared. But eventually you'll get there. That's the funny part. So we started doing data collection. Shout out to Leah. I did it. So what we did is we found a way to get all the emails of the councillors. I think it's completely legal, so, but we have a database of basically all the cities where people are working in. So what you can do is you can go to our website, you can look up your city, and with one click on the button, you can email all your councillors with one letter asking them, you know, look at that plant-based treaty. Do you want to endorse it at the city? We give some information about what the climate crisis is doing to our world. And we give some examples of cities that have already endorsed this. So you can check out the websites of the cities, what they have been doing, and what it means as a city to endorse. Then find a local politician. It's mostly like green parties or left parties that work with us, but you'd be surprised on people that you that want to work with you. But ask them to put in a motion to endorse the plant-based treaty as a city. And they have been doing that. The advantage of having these data collection and email actions is that success can come from really unexpected places. This is Hayward's Heath. It was the first European city that endorsed the plant-based treaty, and we had no idea where it was. We had to look it up on the map. Some councillor got the email, looked into it, made a proposal without us knowing it, and the council endorsed it. Hayward's Heath is a very conservative city, so it was a complete surprise to us. But that is also like the fun part. Sometimes we get an endorsement from a councillor that we just really don't expect. And that is really, really nice to see. And it takes a little effort, but it can have very big consequences. Because when Hayward Heath endorsed, we can take that and say, oh, that's city number 20. And everybody else's job is going to be easier the more cities we get. So yeah, this was a big win. First European city. I talked about it before, but it's really important to stay persistent. We had some councillors that we had to email like 3 times, 4 times, being ignored. But as the campaign was keeping on building, people heard more about it. It was more on the news. New cities came into it. New councillors came to endorse it. So that, after 3 times, people heard about more, and then they endorsed it. Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London, showing support. Still working on the endorsement. They told me not to say it, but I have to be honest. But here on the other side, you have Ahmed Deniz Atabai. He's the mayor of Didim. And not only did he endorse it, he is such a fan of the plant-based treaty that he's actually at events cooking plant-based food for the people. And he's so involved. He has now trying to make every event that is there, make it vegan. So it shows like how much can be done, but just keep on trying. And yes, I love this photo. Oh, hey! So 21 cities, and also big cities. Los Angeles City Council endorsed it unanimously. So they had to vote in council. Unanimously, they voted to support the plant-based treaty. Yay! Didim, a municipality in Turkey. That was where the mayor is from, really involved, doing a lot of things. Edinburgh. Yay, okay, cool. First capital that endorsed the plant-based treaty, and we're really excited because actually when this happened, the ball started rolling in so many other cities and towns. That was a really, really big win for the campaign because it got so much news. There are so many media coverage on this one, and in the Netherlands was like, when will Amsterdam be next? And Amsterdam will be next, hopefully, because they saw this and they contacted us also. We reached out to them a couple of times, no response from any of the councillors. And then finally, it was in the news, and then they started responding. And that just goes to show, like, when this happens, when another city endorses, other cities are like, oh, this is something, and there will be a time that you don't want to be the last one. So we're sort of hoping on that to happen. And that's, like I said, that is really what makes this campaign so much easier, because we're working with Amsterdam, with Utrecht, Culemborg, and the Netherlands. But I think a dozen of cities that actually we have campaigners work with the municipality, with the sustainability officers, and actually getting them endorsed. And once we have Amsterdam, it's going to be so much more easy for Madrid to endorse it, or for London to endorse it. It's going to have that ripple effect, like, for instance, the fossil fuel treaty had. So we started with just the endorsements, but we also found out, like, we don't want this to be the next greenwashing campaign. So a city could say, like, I endorsed the plant-based treaty, and then they just stop doing anything. So what we do now is we sort of upgraded the campaign and called it Plant-Based Treaty 1.5. After the 1.5 degrees of the Paris Agreement. And if a city endorses, we're not just asking for their signature, we're asking them to actually make meaningful changes within their municipality. So we're asking them, what can you do to actually say, to walk the talk? One thing that could be done, for instance, is being vegan by default at your own events. So not serving meat, not serving dairy. And what we're doing is we're negotiating with these councillors or councils or cities, like what is in your scope of reach that you can actually do to prove that you want this transition to happen. So it's not just an empty endorsement. And the different cities do different things. You saw the mayor of Diddam, who's really committed to have all the events that take place in the city to be vegan. He's really advocating for that. Hayward's Heath, very conservative town, but they put it on the website. They're promoting Veganuary. They're actually having this on their government website, which is, I think, super cool. They're really trying to make the people within their community aware that this is a good way to move forward. So super excited. I'm on schedule, that's nice. So, recap. What we do is we combine positive and solution-based organizing with creating systemic change. So it's two things that go separate, but also are nice to do separately. So we have a sustainable form of activism that combines really well with all the trauma that we face, and we're actually making changes. Because while we are getting these really big institutions, governments, but also companies to go vegan by default or to have, you know, their menu changed, that will actually make the numbers of animals that are slaughtered go down. Because, you know, when you don't have it anymore there, you know, it actually gets the demand down. So that's fairly cool. We want to give back to the community. So while we are doing our activism, we are not stepping away from them, but we're in the community and connect with them, which is, I missed that. I was so lost. I felt so alone. And now, you know, it's just nice to see people excited, which of course we need to be angry and not be liked, but sometimes it's just nice when somebody says, yeah, I get you. So we have that. Room for creativity, it's something that I super enjoy because, you know, whatever the ideas that comes into your head, if you have the capacity to organize it, you can do it. We will help you set it up. We will give you tips. We will give you resources. We have graphic designers that can make beautiful posters for your events. We can have you funding to start your own chapter. There's so much possibilities. Measurable success. We see how many people endorse. We see another city endorsing. We see that there's actually a change of menu. So we can actually look back and see, oh, this is what we did. In the time that I've been active and was out on the street, I know 2 people for sure that went vegan because they became activists. All the other ones that I thought like, oh, these people gets it. You know, these people are gonna walk out of here and they're never gonna eat any animal product. They're never gonna wear it again. They just understand it. I don't know, because I've never seen them anymore, and I didn't see the numbers go up, but this is very measurable. Sustainable, we need to do this for such a long time, you know, it's really a marathon that we have to run. So for me and a lot of my colleagues, doing something that is enjoyable and fun is just a welcome way of balancing our activism. Not saying, oh, just go do happy, lucky things, but to do it every once in a while, for a lot of people, it's so needed. And it's accessible for young or new activists. I remember I was so hesitant to go to my first action because I felt out of place, and you know, I didn't know if this is something that everybody can do. It's so low level, and hopefully we can get these people to do other things as well. We always point out to other actions, other organizations to please check it out. So we really try to connect with different organizations. And that was it. We're there. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. To try. Yeah.
We have time for some questions. Maybe one or two questions, if there's any. Yeah, in the back.
I can hear you.
I'm trying to endorse it. I'm trying to get my company to endorse the plant-based treaty. I don't need this, so everybody hears me.
I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm trying to get my company to endorse plant-based treaty, but what does that mean for them? So what do they have to do? Or would they have to change their menus in the canteen, don't serve any non-vegan food anymore, or in the events, don't serve any meaty products anymore? They're coming back with the questions like, what does that mean for us? What do we have to do?
So obviously it really starts by signing, because by signing up we'll add you to our list of companies, and it shows governments that there's another company that supports this. So this is a very important thing. Obviously, I don't know what your business is, but if it's a vegan business, you cannot make it more vegan, like it's vegan or it's not vegan. So what you can do to support us is to put our logo on your website. You can maybe refer to others. You can put a sticker on the window. But what we're trying to do with this campaign is when a business wants to endorse it, we're not giving you this like fixed list of, oh, then you need to do this and then you have to endorse it. No, I would love to sit down with you to see what your company can actually do. Do you need resources to do it? Because we have those resources. We work with Greener by default. We work with a lot of people that have, for instance, chefs or scientists that can come to your business and give a presentation. There are so many options. So the next step would be to have a conversation with me and then tailor-make your approach. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
One more question? No. Oh.
Hi, thank you for the amazing talk. I'm guessing you can also push this not only from a climate perspective, but also very much from a health perspective.
Yes.
How are you doing with involving hospitals or other health institutions?
Yeah. So what we do is we find NGOs that are already working on it. So obviously we're not going to invent how to change a hospital. But what we can do is take your question and then contact other organizations that have already done it and to get them involved. Because by now we have such a long list of NGOs that have endorsed it, but also did all these amazing things. So they could help you with setting that up. We write a lot of hospitals, daycare centers. We have people already working on that. So what I could do is I can connect you to people who have worked on hospitals, and then they can help you to do it. Yeah. Exciting. I really hope you will do. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes.